Good afternoon, everybody. It's your buddy Choppadong. I am coming at you with a pitching edition for a full slate Tuesday. 15 games to look at, and let's break down the pitchers. If you've never followed me before, I'm at Choppadong out on Twitter. And of course, I am a content creator, senior editor, whatever you want to call it, dfsarmy.com down there in the comments section. You can always check out down there, click the link, join the Army today, get the content tools and coaching that are making people better players. We did have a $100,000 and a $40,000 winner last night, so that was pretty cool to watch. But more importantly, we're interested in making you better. And the way we do that is by teaching you the fundamentals of the game. So use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, like and subscribe the video while you're down there, and let's keep the content rolling. What I'm going to do is just run through my pitching process. I got a request from a newer member, hasn't seen it before, thought I'd show him. Good refresher for everybody else. So we're going to blow through the 15-game slate, and I'm going to show you the pitchers that I'm interested in and why. But before we get to that, let me show you how I find those numbers. I go to the MLB Research Station. And as soon as I can find it, I'll show it to you. And I go to the starting pitchers tab. You click these little three dots over here. It'll scroll over to the right just a smidge, open that starting pitching tab up. There's one way you can do it, which is just go strictly by DFSA grade. We have players do that. But another way that you can do it is to use the chop shop over here, sort by K-score descending order, because I want upside. I want strikeout upside. I want pitchers that strike people out, and I want teams that strike out. When we match up green light, I want that pitcher. And I want the cheapest pitcher I can find that's in the strongest spot to do that. And why? Because strikeouts bury earned runs. I can give up 4 or 5 earned runs, and if I got 10 strikeouts, I still can post a decent score. I might not get the win. If I go deep enough into the game, I can still accumulate enough points that it doesn't completely screw me over. High strikeout pitchers facing high strikeout teams are high floor pitchers in daily fantasy sports, period. End of story. You don't need to look at more like, he gets crushed versus righties. He doesn't do well on the road. Yeah, all of that factors in a little bit, but most importantly, look for strikeout upside, and K-Score delivers that to you, and you can only find it at dfsarmy.com. So I will use W-Score a little bit. I will use some of these numbers when I'm picking bad pitchers. Of course, I want to use price. I will scroll over here and use Vegas, and I will also use the bullpen numbers, because as baseball goes and starting pitchers go far, less and less deep into games, the bullpens get more and more use, which means they become more important for DFS purposes. Not only do they hold on to the win for our pitcher, but they also keep the fantasy scoring down for other stacks. So if I was looking for a pitcher, or I guess a stack of bats, and I found some pitcher who only averaged 4 or 5 innings per start, and he was great, but I knew I was going to get 3 to 5 innings of bullpen work, and the bullpen stunk. That's a nice little GPP spot for me. So when I look in at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and go, oh, my score's not very good, I don't get too crazy worried about how my lineup's going to end up, because I know the bullpen is coming. Now, that's a little bit of a gamble. That's why it's a GPP-only type of theory, because you're only getting 2 at-bats at best against that bullpen, so you better make hay while the getting's good. But it at least gives you something to kind of rely on or look at when your lineups don't look like they're doing very well at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. You can always look back to the bullpens and say, well, I'm going to get an at-bat or 2 here, where if we break through for a big inning, my stack will be okay. So I will use all of these in conjunction with each other to pick out what I feel are the best situations. So if we started with the K-score, if you saw, and I'll do it again for you. If we scroll over here to the K-score, you can see they're in order from top to bottom. Scherzer, Cole, Green. Green's an opener. Al's always got, or whatever's got no history whatsoever. A few of these guys do that. When they do that, I want to see a few starts build up before I really start jumping on the train. Again, those are risky pitchers, and that's a GPP type of thing. Go for it if you want to, but I play a much more closer to the vest, much less overthinking style. Scherzer, Cole, Snell, Ray, Price, Flaherty, Stripling, etc. And looky here. Scherzer, Cole, Snell, Ray, Price, Flaherty, Stripling. So there you have it, and there you are. I just pretty much go by K-score. Now I'm going to try to find the cheapest guy with a great K-score or a great matchup that I can find when it comes down to the matchups on the night. Scherzer 12-2 is, in my opinion, unaffordable. Plenty will tell you they ran Kershaw 3 years ago at that price. They did fine, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to. I don't like to. You're not able to stack very much. You end up going from offense to offense, picking little scat leadoff guys. And you know what? If a couple of them hit home runs, you're in great shape. I feel that the high floor and upside of Scherzer takes away from enough bats that I've still got an unbalanced lineup. I've got all pitching and no bats, unless my bats get lucky. I would rather have room for upside with a cheaper pitcher, somebody who can hit value at their price, but has upside for much higher value multipliers, 5x, 6x, whatever, and also gives me room to build bats that have the same. Take a lot of $3,000, $3,500 Fanduel type bats, $4,000 DraftKings type bats, not pay up to the very tip top, but not have to punt everywhere either. Because I believe that allows me to correlate my lineups. It allows me to put together a more unified lineup and then put it out there in those contests where the lineup itself still has a high floor, but it's got upside because it has tremendous talent. It's got underpriced players on it that are still good players, and it has an opportunity to really do well that night. Scherzer limits that to me. He's the best pitcher on the slate, though, but he's 12-2. 220 Vegas odds, 579 K score, 404 lowest W score on the list. If you want to know what K score is, it's the upside for strikeouts. W score is the kind of the upside or downside for bats. Looking at it from a pitching perspective, we want a low number. It's measuring the WOBA that Scherzer gives up compared to the WOBA of the team he's facing today. And being that Miami's a weaker offense and Scherzer doesn't give up a lot of WOBA, that's why you get a low number. Okay, so it helps me gauge the strength of the matchup as well from that angle. The bullpen is pretty shaky, but we are facing Miami. I'm not afraid to face Miami. So when I look at this, that's what I'm trying to beat now. But I'm really trying to beat this price because these other numbers are really good. I look at Cole for, 700 less, stronger Vegas odds, lower K score, higher W score, stronger pin, Pittsburgh, still pricey. I can see it, not a big deal. These are 1 and 2 on the night. You could run the narrative, first visit back to Pittsburgh, whatever you want to talk about. You can do any of that. Snell, minus 110. That's a big drop-off in Vegas odds. I don't like that. I don't get much of a drop-off in K-score, so yeah, he can do well. But he's not necessarily assured to get the win, but Tampa Bay is not even assured to win the game. It's not a super strong matchup where Vegas sees it as a slam dunk Tampa Bay victory. So that's something we need to weigh into account a little bit. He's an okay GPP type of pick, but I'm saving even $3,000 off of Scherzer, and it's still not quite enough for me. I would still probably just take the safety of Scherzer or Cole, most likely Cole, because I don't see a big difference here, and I would probably take the $700 for bats. But I look at Robbie Ray, 300 less than Snell, 8,900. Now he's an underdog. That's even worse. K-score's okay. I know he's got the upside to demolish tonight. I mean, he could strike out 10 Dodgers, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel that Scherzer and Cole have the higher floor and are a little bit safer still. If I dip down a little bit further, I get to David Price. All of a sudden, he's green because I like him. $8,100. Usually $8,000 is about my sweet spot. I really look for bats or look for pitchers in that area. Minus 235 is tremendous Vegas odds, stronger than Scherzer, less than Cole. 518, anything over 500 is strong. So that's a good matchup. Lower W score, strong pin. Chicago's not a team I'm worried about. So now I can compare this for almost $4,000 or actually $4,100 less. And I get good Vegas odds, a good K score. It's not as good as Scherzer's, but it's good. A decent W score, a strong pin, and facing a weaker offense. I'm fine with that. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I'd rather take the $4,000 and put it into my bat budget. So I will take the chance. I will take the gamble on David Price tonight a million times over. Now if I wanted to run, say, 10 lineups, I'd probably have, maybe 6 or 7 be David Price and 1 or 2 be Scherzer, 1 or 2 be Cole. I'd probably call it a night. Now, if I was playing more tournaments and wanting to take more risk for upside, I'd consider Ray, Snell, Flaherty, Stripling, whatever. But this $200 is not enough of a savings to lose that much Vegas confidence, lose a little bit of K score, give up some W score, and go to a weaker pen. It just doesn't make sense to me. Stripling, I'm not paying $500 more than David Price for lower Vegas odds, lower K score, higher W score, same pin in Arizona at Arizona. I'm just not going to do it. Again, I don't see the need to pay extra for that. If I wanted to buy, a Dodge versus it's not exactly Dodge versus Maserati pricing. But you can see where I'm going with that. I don't want to pay more than I have to. I want more bang for my buck because it gives me more room to function with my bats. Now, if this, if I liked this matchup better and said I just don't want to pay the $500, when I build my lineups, I'd better not have $500 left over. Because if I had $500 left over and was happy with the bats, I would jump from price to a stripling. Because why leave $500 on the table just because? If you like this matchup better, you might as well use that $500 for that. The problem is I won't be leaving $4,000 on the table to jump from Price to Scherzer. I will find a way to use the bats. Okay, Bieber 9,800, don't need it. I've got the same odds as Price. I've got a higher K score in Price, a lower W score in Price. What in the world do I need to pay $1,700? That's kind of, again, going with the Dodge versus Maserati pricing, where I've got the price already locked up. I've got, no pun intended, I've got the price that I like at $8,100, and now all of a sudden I'm going to just go waste $1,700. That just does not compute to me. Gibson would be one that I would look at $7,700. $400 is not significant. $400 is not significant, especially when you consider you lose all of your Vegas support, you lose some K score, you lose some W score, and whatnot. But here's what I'm going to show you with Dick Gibson. Now, I won't be on him tonight. He would be a GPP type of pivot for me at best. But I want to show you why you want to pay attention to him going forward. When I look out at Fanduel, at his game log, yes, the last one was awful. And yes, I was on him at that point in time. I suffered that defeat. But 52, 24, 30, 55, 24, 29. But what led me to believe up until that point that that Boston was going to crush him? I mean, yes, it's Boston, but Gibson was wheeling and dealing. I see a game log like that of ultra consistency, and I'm going to give that guy a little bit of, he's got the magic mojo. It's the Giolito factor, if you will. And that didn't necessarily work out a couple of starts ago either. But I'm going to play this game some too. I'm trying to pull all of these very basic factors into my thought process, if you will. And that's what I'm trying to assess these pitchers on. And it's a very, very simple way to do this in 15 minutes. Write these names down, use our research station to do it. Write down the Vegas odds, write down the K score, W score, bullpen matchups, and then start comparing and contrasting for yourself. Would you pay down for this guy? Do you give up a lot or just a little bit in these categories? If you don't give up much, save the money. If you have to give up a ton, then obviously continue to pay up because it's clearly the better pitcher. Your pitching arms are your most consistent source of points most nights. They are the ones holding the ball. They're the ones in control of their own destiny for the most part. Hitters are very fluky. They can get you a 0 or get you a 40. Pitchers don't typically do that. Pitchers typically get you positive point scores. And a lot of times the very, very good ones usually get you 40 to 50 points and have upside to 80. And that's great. But if you're gambling, you want to make sure that you're gambling with somebody that has that high floor and has that upside to do very, very well tonight. And I believe that's what David Price does. So if you like this kind of coaching, you need to consider DFSArmy.com. You need to use that coupon code SHOP. Hop in there with that 20% off discount. Start asking questions in our coaching forums. We respond. We want to help you. It's in our best interest because you will brag about our website. You will tell people that you learned here, and that helps us grow and become even bigger and better. Wear the Army hat. Watch the leaderboards for those Army hats, and you'll notice how many people are already utilizing our coaching. Our coaching is what nobody else can duplicate. Everybody has tools. Everybody has content. Nobody can duplicate our coaching, and that's what you need to come inside and get. So hopefully you use that link in the bottom there in the comment section, dfsarmy.com, and you use that coupon code because, again, I don't want to see you pay full retail for anything when I have the power to discount it a little bit. So jump on in here today, get ready for tonight, and let's go win ourselves some money. Take care, everybody.